Welcome back, everybody, to the grand finals of the Alienware Awesome Cup 2, where we have just seen Team Boom take a game from Ion, increasing their lead to 2-0, as they have a previous point for making it to the finals of the winner bracket.
Yeah.
So they are up 2-0. Ion needs to win 3 consecutive games, or 3 games, that is, before Boom wins 1. We've seen these teams compete admirably, but before we get into the picks and bans of the third game, it is a best of 5. A quick message from our sponsors, and we'll take a quick look at what everybody is competing for. A huge shout out to Alienware for supplying the 6 Alienware Alphas for this event. A thank you to Ronimo. We are powered by Gosu Gamers, and the production team is ES Champ. And taking a look at what these people will be competing for. First place, $1,800 cash, 3 Alienware Alphas, some Steam in-game items for Awesomenauts, and a gold in-game Alienware badge. Second place, $900, 3 more Alienware Alphas, some more in-game Awesomenauts items, and a silver in-game badge. Third place, $900. Unfortunately, you will not be getting those 3 Alienware Alphas. You will still be getting those Steam items for Awesomenauts and a bronze in-game badge. And fourth place, $450 cash and more in-game Awesomenauts items. With that being said, Nada, take us through the draft session for Game 3 of Ion versus Boom.
Alright, with Boom only needing to win 1 more game, things could be decided right here on the draft screen, so let's take a look at it. The first pick resides with Ion, so therefore they also get the first ban, and that ban being Nibs. They saw how powerful that was last game, so they decided to get rid of it. Boom, being smart, banning Vinny, getting rid of the Silence Cloud as well, now that they can't do that comp they were doing last game. So, no Vinny and no Nibs. First pick will be Scoop, and that is going to allow the Ion to keep spamming those hammers, make them rain from above on Sorona. Now, respawns will be Swiggins and Penny Fox, so a hefty burst coming out here, high amplified damage, Swiggins for that hook in, and just overall a menace, as well as lots of AA damage. Response to that will be Coco and Froggy G. Last pick for Boom is Ayla. So to recap, Swiggins, Penny, Ayla fighting off against Froggy, Coco, and Scoop. Map is Sorona, and if you are ready, Oz, then I am too.
I am ready. Give us a countdown. Let's get it started.
Alright, you got it. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Now, last game, we saw the same composition for Ion. How do you think that's going to differ in this game versus Boom?
I think they can do it. You know, it comes down to the initiations, as we've said multiple times today. And if they get them right, you know, the map is a lot better for their comp, I'd say. So having that on their side, I think they can really change up the match here. But it is going to take some time. Their builds require a lot of solar to get into function. So we're just going to have to see what happens.
In comparison to Boom now, we're seeing a Penny and an Ayla come out. How will that differ?
Well, we have that high DPS coming out from Ayla, and the Penny providing for that amplifying will really do some damage. That is for sure. As well as provide for silence later on, which will allow them to engage even secure kills where Frog cannot dash out.
Now, we've spoken about silence. We've seen it a lot on the Vinnies. We've seen it a lot on the Pennies today. How important is that in these team fights?
No, silence is the determining factor if people will live or die. Next to damage, it is the single most important thing that you can have on a Naut, I'd say. It is so crucial for a team fight. Denying people their abilities, just basically gimping them, will mean so much and will allow you to just, you know, excel as a team.
As we see both of these teams, Ion has taken control of mid, and Boom is looking to set something up. Those hammers raining down from the sky, as Robbie will continue to launch them off of those bouncers this entire game. And if Team Boom can't combat that, I don't think they'll be able to take a 3-0 victory.
It is still possible, though. One must keep in mind that these teams are in for it. They know what is happening. And if they get a similar situation like last game, they'll be able to do it no problem.
And last game, it seemed that we were seeing a little bit of a quote-unquote passive play on Ion, but they were able to combat Team Boom in certain situations, but Dov was just getting taken apart by Boom last game. You know, getting silenced by that Vinny, getting dashed in upon, and I think Dov really needs to focus on his positioning in this map and kind of pay attention to where Kaio is and where the Penny is in relation to where he is and his team is. If they can get the drop on him, they're going to be able to pick him up very quickly.
That is true, but on this map, Coco has a lot more escapability and will be able to farm up that Worm as we're seeing. And also the bouncers, the balls, there's a whole new level of, you know, freedom and mobility, and that's something that Coco really benefits from.
And we're seeing boots on Ayla very quickly, as we said earlier, an essential upgrade to have on Ayla. And the same thing, an essential upgrade to have on Coco as well. So I anticipate that Dov will be picking up boots first.
I would think that'd be a very sensible pickup.
And I really want to see Kaio just kind of guarding the skies as his Swiggins and really just assaulting anybody that uses the jumpers in either direction. If he can play that game, once they get control of mid, he can be a menace. He can drop down from the skies, land those anchors, and really just wreak havoc upon Team Ion. And Robbie is going to be able to prevent that by utilizing his hammers, and I think we should be expecting to see a Blaze build on Coco. Coco being a very good counter to Ayla.
Well, depending on the situation, I'd say, but yes, Blaze Ball will do a tremendous amount of damage and will annoy the crap out of Ayla. You can see the Blaze Ball already coming out on G-Dove there.
And we'd anticipate to see Chuck's board come out right after that, and Kaio looking to anchor and hold down Robbie will miss his anchor, and it seems that all three members of Team Boom will retreat back to grab help and regroup with each other, while the members of Team Ion have still remained in mid for a good 3.5 minutes.
That was actually an anchor hit. The long-range anchor actually managed to hook up G-Dove. Pretty impressive, if you ask me.
Absolutely. We see those anchors from the sky, and we can see it with Scoop too. Once he gets Twister Lance, which is obviously one of the mandatory upgrades to get on the thing, but we're going to see the engagement start. Paulo dealing a lot of damage to all three members, and Blah being very nimble, dashing through all the members of Team Ion. All members of Team Boom are very low.
Well, that's going to allow Ion to push forward and really just, you know, keep up the pressure.
And that's what Ion needs to do. They need to keep up the pressure. They need to stop the momentum that Boom gained from last match and really take it down and kind of constrict them a little bit and push at the same time as they're holding down that mid. They don't want to stay in mid for too long because then the Ayla will be able to get in there, and if they all group up, and Ayla grouped up is going to tear you apart.
Yep, and with the added security of a silence pulse coming in from Penny, Ayla will be able to just massacre everyone.
And massacre she will. That Evil Eye is going to be very powerful later on, and obviously the lower in health that she gets, the more damage she deals. Kaio is very low. He might be getting taken out, but the entirety of Team Boom is there to help him escape, and he escapes with a half a bar of health. Team Ion tried to hunt him down, but he was too far away for them to actually deal any damage, and Dov will continue to farm up the Worm.
And you actually saw there, it was very tempting to get those creeps, but he actually knew that the hammer was coming. Stopping would have meant death, and he was ready and well aware of that, and that's why he got out safely.
And death he will have on that engagement, as he will go down to Mogno and the entirety of Ion, and it will force Paulo to teleport back, leaving Blah to defend as the sole defender on lane. And look at how much solar that Dov has already in comparison to everybody else. He has 1,000 solar from farming up that Worm, just farming alone.
That is true. It's 500 more than Swiggins Kaio right now. 500. That's like 2 to 3 upgrades.
2 to 3 upgrades. Look at the ball damage already. He's going to be at a 580 ball 7 minutes into the game.
And that is with boots and blaze ball, mind you.
That's absolutely insane. Just going to show you how important mid control is on Sirona, and you can create that snowball effect in itself just by farming the worm.
Yeah, and that's as we were talking about the build or in the whole comp that Ion is running. It is a bit more? It's a little less fuel efficient. It needs more gas, and that is what they're getting for this right now.
Gas? You mean like the gas-powered sticks?
No, unfortunately, we won't. We won't have any of that. We only have Solar and Tears.
They were one of the teams that progressed to the grand finals, though, and were able to compete in these last 2 days. Unfortunately, they were knocked out, but that is why these two teams are here, because they have knocked out everybody else.
And Ion being only knocked out by Boom, leaving this quite interesting matchup.
And an interesting matchup it is, as Kaio goes down to the wrath of Team Ion, chasing him into the top creep section of Boom.
Exactly. And we're looking at 2 kills at 8 minutes. Very, very scarce on kills, but nonetheless, the push is slowly moving forward.
And Robbie will land the hammer on Paolo off of the bouncer. Mukno preparing himself for the inevitable fight, and Dov going up. Dov is still holding on to those 2 stages of voltage amplifier.
Oh, and he's actually, you know, banking quite a lot of cash, and I wonder what he's saving up for. I mean, Frog even more so.
Frog holding on to 390 solar, Scoop with 315, and Coco with 268.
That is quite the big. That's you know, that's a very decent solar advantage. I'd say that's you know, they best get going and really just use it while they have it.
Dov blazing away from Kaio, Paolo, and Blah. The Evil Eye hit on Robbie. Robbie and Team Ion have held control of mid for 8.5 minutes now. If we had a graph, I know in football they have the graph of mat or ball time. We can see that 8.5 minutes compared to maybe the 30 seconds that Team Boom had in the midsection. And Blah is going to be forced to escape as Robbie chases him down in the bottom lane. Paolo allowing security, being there for a few hits to tank a little bit, as we see Kaio and Paolo defend against Robbie and Dov.
Alright, I still want to see a push in onto those turrets, get a kill in front of the turret, just you know, go in there, get it done, be aggressive. This is what we need right now for Ion, to just go and get the kills in a position where they can actually push. Perhaps stop farming the bottom now that you have such a great solar lead. And just, you know, get some
Team
pushing.
Boom noticing that there is one less member of Team Ion on the map and are going to attack Robbie. Robbie is going to get taken down by Blah, and Blah and Paolo are going to be on the escape, and Paolo will get picked up by Dov on his escape. And both of these teams are just assaulting each other, and that is the intensity that we see coming out of Team Boom, able to get into that midsection once they realize that one member of Team Ion is not there, and they just push themselves in, picked up the kill, but unfortunately for Paolo, he did not make it out with his life, and that just goes to show how well Team Ion is at counter-attacking, counter-initiations.
That is quite a lot of counter crossing and backstabbing and whatnot.
Not necessarily the backstab. We're seeing Paolo start his, or Kaio, excuse me, start his engagement. Robbie taking a pulse to the face. He's going to have to retreat as he is about half health, but the entirety of Ion is standing right next to him, able to hold control of mid even more. As Blah makes his way into mid, he is pushed back by Blah. A huge ball dealing half damage gone to Blah in a tick.
That is what this is about.
And one tick, there it goes. Robbie is taken out by Paolo, and Mukno and Dov are going to be forced to defend against Kaio and Paolo as Blah is back to pick up some health and maybe get an upgrade. Kaio and Paolo have reinstated themselves in mid, so 10.5 minutes of control for Ion in the midsection, and we can see how far it's gotten them. The Coco, 1,600 solar compared to the Swiggins, 800. Twice as much solar
That is quite the silver starving right now. And I'd say that Ion's play right now is akin to, I know the oldies of Nods will know this, Team FUM, who played a very, there's a alternative play style where they just zone and zone and zone until there is no room left, and they just take down the turrets. It's akin to that. They're just zoning the middle out, keeping everyone out, just taking their time, and slowly but surely moving up the lanes until they can just tear it down.
And they are going to tear it down as we see Machno get taken out by Paolo. Paolo is going to get hit with a ball on the escape from Dov, but not before Dov takes a huge evil eye, and he will be forced to defend, but Blah will pick up the kill on Dov on his escape. Blah stealing the creeps for Robbie, and Robbie will defend against Blah Kaio as Paolo goes back to pick up pills.
You know, pills on Ayla is, usually you don't get pills until like the later stages of the mid game, but for Ayla you can really benefit from having pills earlier on because she is very squishy and she needs to be tanky. She needs that sustain in order to just keep going in those hefty team engagements.
Robbie and Mokno clearing up the top lane as the bottom lane has been cleared and all members of both teams are back on the map. Looking at the kill count, we're approaching the 14-minute mark of the match. It is 4-3 in favor of Team Boom, but Team Ion is held mid for a long time, and they've been able to farm up quite a bit.
They are ready to make that strike, but it all comes down to that initiation once again. If they get it right.
And there we see the initiation coming out for Team Boom as Mokno with 1 HP will escape the clutches, and we observe Kaio being just assaulted by Dov, and the DOT is going to pick him up. Paulo is now on the run alongside Blah with Robbie, Dov, and Mokno all on map. We observe Dov going to pick up some creeps, and this is where they need to stop farming mid. They really need to start pushing. We're almost at the 15-minute mark of this game, 30 seconds away, give or take, and these builds have kind of... We know which way they're headed. We see that Heavenly Fire on Dov. We see the Chuck's board. We see 3 stages of Voltage Amplifier. The Coco is becoming a powerhouse.
Absolutely, and with the Chuck, being able to swim on land really does something when you want to provide damage over time.
And Paolo is going to be constrained by the Blaze. Blah just nimbly avoiding Robbie's hammer as Paolo and Blah will retreat back to pick up some health, leaving Kaio to defend against Mokno and Dov.
More farming.
And I mean, at this point, I see where they're going. They want to kind of catch up in upgrades, that being the Frog, 1800 solar and Kaio looks like he may be in a little bit of a bad situation, but Mokno is going to be slowed by the Evil Eye of Ayla, but the nice bank hammer across the upper wall of mid will prevent Blah and Paolo from engaging any further.
I actually want to talk about Blah and his Penny for a bit, because Penny is, of course, a very charge-reliant character in the sense that if you don't have charges, you don't have abilities, and you can only use one ability at a time. But using his setup, he will always, landing his first ability will allow him to hit his second. That being, if he goes in with a pounce, he will be able to pulse away as soon as he's done.
Kaio taking a hammer to the face. He will use the bouncer. Paolo going to land the Evil Eye on Dov. And we see that hammer and that ball dealing a crazy amount of damage on Blah. Just jumping off the bouncer. He will get hit for a majority of his health and forced to retreat back. Paolo taking a lot of damage as well. He will pick up the health on bottom. Kaio taking a hammer as well. And Ion has retaken control of mid once again.
You know, I think they're actually pushing out. I think they are. Look at bottom. I see droids.
Well, we see those droids. You are absolutely correct. That is the first time that we've seen the droids reach the bottom turret of Team Boom. And Paolo gets knocked away. We see Kaio patrolling the skies, the hammer, excuse me, hitting Blah in the bottom lane as the ball misses, and Dov will go back to farming. It's like he's playing a certain mobile game.
Oh.
or Zynga game, or whatever they call it nowadays. Dov is going to get constricted by Kaio as we see Paolo and Blah get into it, getting the amp off, and the chase from Paolo will not be enough to pick up Dov.
I thought you were thinking of Farming Simulator.
Oh, right. Farming Simulator 2015. Or Farmville. One of those two. That's what they're playing in the midsection with the worm. But Blah and Kaio, both remaining there, will clear it up, and Team Boom has retaken control of mid, but I think Ion will just walk right back in as all three members of Boom take the bouncer to their creeps.
Well, throwing the phone aside and stopping playing computer games, they continue playing computer games, and here it's Awesome Knots in mid. It's you know, they pushing and stuff. I'm not sure if they actually want to push or they want to just farm up and become like a huge cannon and then all of a sudden just blast through all the turret at once. I'm not quite sure what they're doing, to be honest.
Well, I mean, they could push out, and that the bottom they could potentially get in there and really just start dealing damage on those turrets, but Dov is going to be hunted down by Paolo, and Paolo will have to run away, but not before Mokno picks up Blah, and Kaio's taking a lot of damage as well. Kaio goes down, and Paolo is going to be the only member of Team Boom to defend against Robbie and Dov. Mokno gets taken down in the process.
This is the push. This is a push time right now.
This is the push, and yes, it's the process, quote-unquote. Everybody has been waiting for me to say that now.
The process?
The process, yes.
Oh, you're gonna have to fill me in on that one.
Robbie's going to clear that bottom lane, and it seems that Ion will be pushing that bottom turret, as that is a 4-droid push on the bottom turret.
Oh, that's a nice hammer.
Robbie in mid again with Dov. Mokno approaching the midsection with Blah, Paolo, and Kaio waiting to grab themselves an opportunity and pick up a kill.
It all comes down to one hook. It comes down to one dash.
And it also will come down to one hammer as well.
I was getting there. I was being dramatic. I was getting there.
The dramatic, we need the dramatic music in the background as this game is approaching the 20-minute mark. Robbie will be tied down by the anchor of Kaio, and we will observe the ball DOT hitting on Paolo, and a lot of damage being output by Mokno as he will dash through Kaio, landing his hammer pants and just walking right out with full HP.
Well, full HP is something that is necessary in order to win these giant engagements. You cannot go in with like half HP. That is going to tear you apart. And you can see Ion, for most part, is getting a lot of pills and sustain. You see G-Dub for his 5th sustain upgrade in a row, 3 stages of pills, and maxing that barrier magazine for an additional sustain. He's a tank right now.
And we don't see many Coco tanks, but Dov is absolutely a tank, as you pointed out. That 10% shield, along with full pills, is going to allow him to continue his brawl, and Paolo in a little bit of a pickle as he will be hunted down by Mokno as we go into the skies, as Kaio is there for the defense, securing safety for Paolo.
And now it really comes down to if they can get a kill, you know, distract the remaining members of Boom on top and then just run in for the bottom push. I think that would be the ideal way of getting the push going for Ion.
And there, I mean, Ion has just controlled mid for a majority of this game. The snowball is in full effect for Dov as he is just a brick powerhouse. He will be able to push out whenever he wants to. And Ion looks like they are going to start pushing out in that bottom and forget about farming the worm.
Who needs the worm when you have money?
Exactly. That solar advantage is so large at this point. 2,200 solar compared to 1,500. 700 solar, a 700 solar difference. And although Paolo can clean that up very quickly, it seems that they're going to start this engagement. Paolo looking to pick up a kill on Mokno. Mokno will go down to Paolo, but Paolo is 1 HP. He needs the defense from his team, and his team will pick up Dov at the same time. Robbie's going to be forced to defend against all 3 members of Team Boom.
His turrets are looking very good though, and the droids are not favored towards Boom right now. They have to do some clearing, and that leaves Robbie in a good position to just clear up and, you know, have a wave to defend so that his teammates can get back before it is too late.
I do want to point out that the bottom turret of Team Boom has been taken out by the droids in that last engagement.
Yep, and we just saw the super droid disappear.
The solar worm boss on Serona that is known as Bob the Worm.
Yes.
I mean, he really is a solar boss. He takes a lot of solar.
And he is a boss. Unfortunately, no boss or team boss is here.
As we observe Dummy Prisoner being bought on Ayla, which will increase the range of Evil Eye. And we see a huge engagement as Paolo is dealing a lot of damage, but Paolo will kill himself by accident as we see Mokno hunting down Blah, and Blah getting hit with a hammer from the skies and a dash from below, and that will be a secure double kill in favor of Team Ion, and it looks like they're going to deal that turret. They're going to take it away, and that will start the second phase of Serona, where they have to take down that last turret against the defense of Team Boom.
Well, luckily for them, Team Boom does not have a very defensive team comp. They are very focused on attacking, and of course they can set up an easy attack while defending, but in terms of droid clearing, they are not well off. Not without Ayla, at least.
And look at how quickly they are destroying that turret. Paolo trying to thwart off any threats, and he will just force away the entirety of Team Ion, but they will regroup back, and Dov has 333 solar, Robbie 520, and Mokno with 200 just managed to pick up Boombox, which will increase the damage of his NATO.
Boombox is being picked up quite a lot this tournament. I think it's a nice change from the usual tweeters that we usually see the end damage. This does provide a whole new aspect of how you do NATO. Instead of going in for that last hit, you now try to body block and just grind up and down until you get all the damage takes-ins for maximum efficiency.
And talking about maximum efficiency, we see the Spoonman upgrade increasing damage by 20%, I believe, if he has both stages. He does have both stages, so all damage output by Scoop when he is around his teammates will be increased by 20%. So those hammers are going to hit for over 500. Paolo taking a lot of damage. Paolo will go down to the entirety of Ion. Kaio, having to escape, is floating above the Cocoa Ball, making sure that he doesn't get knocked back into Ion. And the push continues as bars are being shaved off. 3.5 bars left on that bottom turret for Team Boom, compared to both turrets virtually untouched. And Mokno is going to pick up Kaio. Blah is going to be forced to defend, and Mokno is going to have to escape. He will be able to escape, but look at those droids stacking up on that core. Blah taking a lot of damage from Scoop. Robbie dealing a lot of damage, and we see Mokno on the run as Paolo trying to get himself in there, clear it up. But that's a stack of about a good 7 droids that was quickly taken up from Paolo.
Yeah, Paolo does, you know, the cream of the crop here for defending would be Ayla, and that just the thing about Ayla defenses is that you have to make sure you can engage for it, because it's very dangerous to go alone into all these you know, you have a lot of damage in play here. So if Ayla can get set up for the defense, excellent, but otherwise she'll be a sitting duck and only be able to take out the droids and not actually go for that hefty, you know, the damage, because she does stack up in damage and shield when more targets are in her rage, but that also, you know, puts her out there in a very vulnerable position, and I think if they can set it up just right, she can really benefit from that, but she shouldn't go all in and be too confident of the defend right now.
But, I mean, that's what Paolo does. Paolo can clear very quickly, and I don't believe he has the reduction of damage while he has Rage activated. But we see the engagement start, and Blah taking a huge chunk of damage from the entirety of Ion. He's going to try and escape. He will be able to escape thanks to the safety of Kaio and Blah, but that ball just narrowly missing all members of Team Boom, as Robbie is going to hit that hammer, bouncing it off of the core, and that hammer is now bouncing off of the core. That's right, hammer bounces off of structures as of the last update.
It still does damage, though. That should not discourage you from spamming your hammer as much as your heart desires.
Paolo trying to get himself in there. Blah starting up again, landing the pounce and the pulse. Will not be able to create a kill situation for Team Boom. And as we said before, Ion has now finished with the second phase of Sirona. The last phase being the core. Taking down that core with all of your turrets down. Dov is going to be taken out, but also is Blah. But a double kill coming out, and perhaps a triple kill. That's going to be
a triple
wipe.
Nice.
A team wipe in favor of Team Boom as Paolo picks up the triple. That's the second triple kill that we've seen today from a single knot. And this is the point where Boom needs to proceed and kill those turrets, take them turrets down, and just start tanking out. And they are doing exactly just that. As they are dealing that turret damage, they don't have enough health to continue tanking, so Paolo will retreat back and heal up, or excuse me, take out all of the droids in the bottom lane and attack that bottom turret.
Yeah, you see, the droids was favored heavily towards Ion because being at the base allows you to kill all 4 droids in one go, meaning that the push for the wipe they get is a lot less efficient than if they had been at the mid, because they don't have to wait for all the droids coming in.
And that is the first turret down in favor of Team Boom, as Team Ion have paved the way to the core and have taken off about a bar. As we see these upgrades being bought, taking a look at them. Toothbrush Shank, increasing damage of Evil Eye. All 3 stages of it. 60% increase to damage on the Evil Eye.
Ow. That is really something that hurts. And that is something that that adds up. You have the base damage per 300 damage, sorry, and then a plus 100 damage per stage. You add the percentages in, and you end up having a whole lot of ouch.
A whole lot of ouch and a whole lot of death. That's correct. Ayla hitting an Evil Eye is going to start the engagement and have Blah and Kaio come in to pick up those kills, while the entirety of Ion is just running away from that which is the wrath of Ayla. Or Rage, I should say. Kaio going to get knocked back. Kaio's going to be caught out of position, but Paolo and Blah hunting down Dov. Dov is going to survive? No. There's no way Dov survived, as Paolo gets taken out as well. A 1-for-1, but Mokno and Robbie are going to continue their assault on the core, as Robbie's going to be tied down by the anchor. Mokno there to defend him very admirably, as we see Robbie drop the hammer. Mokno and Robbie will escape, and Blah and Kaio will retreat to defend.
They are not well off defending, and I think if they go in with one well-placed assault, that could be end of the game.
That could be the end of the game. The counterattack coming out from Blah, as he will start assaulting Mokno, and Robbie just returning with the hammer, dealing damage to Blah, and Blah is going to continue to attack Robbie. Paolo is now in the mix, as Paolo is looking to pick up a kill, and Robbie is going to be in the middle of the map. He's going to be in a bad situation as Blah gets knocked back by that huge ball coming out from Dov, and Dov will receive the kill on the counter initiation, as we're going to see Team Ion start and go into that core and really try and deal some damage. Paolo being hit with that huge hammer, dealing about half of his health, along with that Cocoa Ball. And Dov, Mokno, and Robbie pushing into the core, shaving off bars, a little bit more than half health.
This is, GW just picked up lifesteal, and with the added AA damage, he can just go in, and as soon as there's droids there, he'll be able to do... Oh, speaking of droids, look at that.
Speaking of droids, speaking of Paolo, he was taken out by surprise, and he's going to have to escape. He'll teleport back, but that's going to be a few seconds. That Dov, Mokno, and Robbie are on the core. Blah taking a lot of damage on the exchange, and Kaio may be going down if he gets hit with the ball. He does get hit with the ball, and that is going to be 3 bars, 2 bars, 1 bar, and that is going to be the game, as Boom forfeits a match, 1 game to Team Ion, making the score 2-1. Nada, what could have gone differently in that match?
That was all down to the farming. Boom should have been way earlier in seeing what was happening there, denying the mid farm, just go in, aggressive flushes off the mid. Having Swiggins defended a bit more in the early game could have benefited as well, as he was taking quite the punches when he initiated. Other than that, it came down to the solar difference, I think. and we're going to see how this progresses in the next game.
So we have done 2 games. Boom went into this series with a 1-game advantage, won their first game, bringing their lead up to 2. Ion takes the 3rd game, which will bring the score at a 2-1 advantage in favor of Boom. Ion needs to win 2 consecutive matches. Boom needs to win 1 match, and we will be right back with the next game of Team Boom versus Ion in the grand finals of the Alienware Awesome Cup 2.